times.
Yes. However, in reflecting on the Muslim Ummah at large, where is the solution going to be? Where are we failing to connect with our faith and with the reality of this world?
Where are we failing to connect with our faith and the reality of this world? I think this is probably the fundamental crises of the Muslim, is how is it that I can relate my personal piety, my personal beliefs, to a world in which everything is incongruous with them, and what is the vehicle by which I can transform this personal piety into a social reality where it's experienced not simply at the personal level but at the societal level.
And to fulfill the Khalifat al-Ard mission.
And I think that we're in the historical process, and this is the inevitability of the divine historical process, because we've been told in the hadith, which is a sound hadith, that the Khilafah, according to the nature of prophecy, would last 30 years. And historically we see that Hassan ibn Ali died 6 months after he took the Khilafah, and that completed the 30 years. And then the Prophet ﷺ said it would move into a kingship, and we saw that. And then he said, and then after that it would move to dictators, Jababira, which literally, Jabbar is a dictator, it's a tyrant. And we're in the tyrannical phase right now. And then he said, and then it would return to the Khilafah according to the prophetic tradition. Now, traditionally that was interpreted to be when the Mahdi in the Islamic ethos comes, that there would be rise up from amongst the Muslim peoples a leader. And I think that that whether or not we adhere or subscribe to that view, the important thing is that the understanding necessitates an awareness that there must be leadership. There has to be, human beings are guided by people. They are not, guidance does not simply spontaneously emerge in a culture. Guidance comes through the emergence of people who are guides, hudat. And this is the Prophet ﷺ, this is his first and foremost function as a prophet, to guide human beings. And from amongst his community there has to be people who emerge to fulfill that role. And traditionally those people were the people that were transmitting and maintaining this tradition. We have had a massive break, and the break has come in the absolute loss of educational systems that will produce this type of leadership that is not simply focusing on the social ills. We have one group of people over here atomized, focusing on economics. We have another group focusing on sociological problems. We have another group focusing on these problems. And then we have what in India and Pakistan would be, the type Maulvi syndrome, where we have somebody who's completely disengaged from the historical context and is completely incapable of inspiring and transmitting some type of serious social transformation.
We've been talking about the upheavals in our own society at large, whether here or there, and the necessary social reforms, and what should we be doing. Obviously it's a loaded question, and we're not going to be solving all the problems, but basically here is a group of people who are the so-called leaders, and here are the masses.
Right.
And their agendas are totally different.
Right.
Yes, we have the glue, which is Islam, but how effectively is it penetrating into our lives? This is basically where we are.
Well, again, I think we have to go back to this fundamental crisis, which relates to producing people who can guide and who can lead. We failed to do that. We have not done that. we have to have people that are deeply rooted and connected with the tradition, and yet at the same time able to function and able to deal with the realities at large, because we do have pragmatic concerns. We do have, you know, one of the things, and I deal with this in my own self, is the idea of the mythology of Islam, which is very powerful. And I don't mean mythology in the, you know, as a fabrication. I mean mythology, in, you know, at the archetypal level. When we talk about Omar is a mythological figure. You know, not that he did exist, and he did do the things that we talk about that he did, but it's at that level of mythos. It's something so awesome and so powerful. And what happens is we rely so much on our mythological tradition that it obscures the fact that we are not doing what we're supposed to be doing now. And so what happens is we tell stories about the past. And the Persian poet, he said, don't be content with the myths of those who went before you. Go out and create your own myths. You know, so that people can tell the myths of this period, of the people that lived in this time, the people that come after. That there has to be that continuity. There has to be the continual resurgence and reinvigoration of the tradition. And we're not doing that. We're failing at that radically. And what has to happen, I think, at the level here in the United States, the Muslim community, one, we have to recognize the importance of neighborhood. We have to recognize the importance of creating environments in which Muslims live together, that we're not anamatized, we're not all separate, so that when we come together, the few times of the year that we come together, it becomes like the family reunion. It becomes like everybody's living their own separate lives, and we come together, and it's the family photograph. But it's a lie. There isn't a family. The only time there's a family is in America is at Christmas time or at Thanksgiving time. So we take the family photograph, and each one of us takes our copy home and put it on the mantle. But that reality doesn't exist. It's really an illusion in the photograph. And I think what's happened in our communities is that we have either for the immigrant, it becomes the photograph from back home. The experience of Islam, the Eids that they remembered back home. And then it becomes this nostalgic type. It's not like back home. And for the first generation and for the convert in this country, it becomes those few occasions where there is some sense of Muslim presence, like the conferences that people go to, or the Eid prayers in the local communities. And other than that, there's a deep sense of lack of community.